I want you to make your way onto your hands and knees. We're just going to stay stable for a few breaths and raise your right hand and your left leg. Make your neck neutral, and this is also making you engage in the belly and the core. Neck is neutral, and just be here. Raise up a little higher if you can. You're going to feel the muscles in the back turn on, and just be here. If this is too much, you can also do this lying on your belly. If there's any injuries, anything going on, but just stay here. Long, deep breaths. Now I'm going to give you a challenge. You can choose either to just do it with long, deep breaths, or you can pump the belly on the inhale, or you can pump the belly on the exhale while in this pose. Do what you can, just see what happens. Long, deep breaths is an option if it's too much. Just a few times. One more time. Finish, place the hand and knee back down. You can either go back into child's pose, or maybe you want to do a few cat-cows, just arching the back. Inhaling, looking up, stretching the belly. And exhaling, spine goes up, or you can also choose the child's pose. And make your way back to a flat back. We're going to do the other side. Get stable, raising left hand and right leg. You can stay here for a few breaths. Be neutral. You want the challenge? You can hold the breath on the inhale or the exhale and pump the belly. Don't do that if you have inflammation in your body or high blood pressure. Just do long, deep breathing. Keep the neck neutral. Lift a little higher, do one more. Then exhale, place the hand and the knee back down. You can do child's pose or take the cat-cow. Go a little faster if you want in cat-cow. Breath almost turns into a breath of fire. And really tuck up from the belly when you pull up. Allow the belly to be what's moving you up. So that you tighten and pull up from the stomach a little bit. You arch your back. Three, 2, 1, you can rest in down dog or child's pose. Either is fine. You want to take a breath in child's pose, rest there, otherwise shift into down dog immediately. We're going to end up in down dog, but take a few breaths to adjust whatever you need. You want to make your way into down facing dog. Walk to the front of the mat, lengthening halfway up on an inhale. Exhale, fold. If you have a block, I actually want you to grab a block while you're down there. Maybe you're close to the floor. And we're going to come up to standing with a block in your right hand. So if you don't have a block, it's okay too. We can just do it with your hand. I want you to take a step a little bit towards the back of your mat. You don't have to be all the way back, but that you have some space to move forward. You can also do this against a wall. We're just going to see where we go in the middle of the mat first. I'm going to step my right foot forward. Both heels are on the ground, so it's not a huge step. And your right hand has the right block. What you're going to do is you're going to lift your left foot off of the ground. And that's what I'm saying, you can do this against a wall as well. And see if you can take your right hand towards the ground. I don't want a lot of weight in that right hand. I want the weight to be very light. You're trying to go sideways, but don't just lean on your right hand. And so if you want to do it against the wall, it's a little easier to do. You can keep one hip against the wall. Just open up even more. So ideally what I want you to do is open your chest up towards the ceiling. So you're rotating upside. You can try along the wall. So what I want you to do is come back up then. From that position, you're here, you're coming back up, and you have to engage your core to come back up. Feel that? Take a few breaths. We're going to do it again. 500 times. So your right foot is facing forward, and you're going to try and tip to your right hand with the block comes on the ground. Try not to put too much weight in the block. And then rotate your chest as if you're trying to make your back flat against the wall here. You got to engage. And then you come up sideways. And this takes a little more effort. Come back up. Rest for a few breaths. Also, the hip how much the hip is opening has to do with how far your foot can face forward. And you don't want to over twist your knee either. So listen to what's going on to there, okay? So if you have to adjust to a little bit to the side, do it one more time. And try and go super slow though. So you don't go fast. So you can kind of hang out. Oh yeah, I can stay here for a few breaths. There. And eventually, you get the hand to the ground. And you try and open your chest and shoulders and heart open more without putting too much weight in your hand because you've got to use your core. And then you try and come up slowly. Oh, that's almost impossible. You have to put some focus and effort into it. Step back. Block is in the left hand then. And you can use a wall. Left foot steps forward, block your left hand, and you shift forward into a balance, but try and open the hip, the right hip above the left. Maybe one side is easier than the other. Wall if you need it, and eventually you can look up towards your right hand, up in the air. And try and come up sideways again. Ground the energy, take a few deep breaths. We're going to go back and forth a few times. And the slower you do it, more power you have in your core. Not just folding over and putting the block on the ground. You're really trying to open up sideways as well. Up again if you can, using gracefully or not. And then you're going to try and do it. Take a few moments, calm down. And you're going to try and do it as slow as you can. But even against a wall, it's okay. Then you get the alignment almost better if you're against the wall. So you really need but this is now more of a balance in the middle of your mat. So both are happening. And you need to use that core stability. You know what I was telling you? Use pelvic floor and lift from underneath because that gives you the stability in a balance. And you're going to come up sideways again in slow motion, trying to then back to standing. Still a little bit at the back of your mat. Calm the breath down again, relax the face, engage core, belly. Still breathing, but the navel doesn't go back and forth when you do that. Now I'm going to step right foot forward, but the hand is in the left block. The left block is in the left hand. Block is in the left hand. Right foot forward, left hand. And what you're going to do again is we're going to tip forward. You can do this against a wall as well. And the left hand goes in front, maybe a little more to the side, lifting the back leg and the arm, and you're twisting this time. Taking the arm up, twisting the chest to the right and the leg. And if that's working for you, can you reach back and grab your foot? Now the tricky part here is, you can release the foot, as you come back up now. Like a windmill. Ground again, soften. We're going to do it again, same side. Right foot forward, left hand forward. I like to keep the left hand a little more to the left because if you put the block right in front of your foot, it's harder. So make it a little easier for yourself. So if you take the block to the left, it's a wider, I almost have to put it down before I lift my foot. That's okay. I'm trying. Twist, stay with the breath. Lengthen the spine. Lift the leg, lift the arm. If you want to attempt to reach back and grab the foot, you may. I'm putting way too much weight in my front hand because I'm not just leaning on it, because I'm not stable enough to hold the core there, but you can. Be aware of what you're doing. Last breath, and we're going to release the foot and the hand if you have it, and see if you can come up on an inhale, windmilling the arm in an arch. A little dizzy from that, I know. Hold on. Take some breaths to calm it all down. Turn in, notice the energy. Then we're going to try the other side, so step back again. Switch, lock into right hand, left foot steps forward. Like I said, if you want to do this against the wall, you can. But it's also a balance. You're going to reach forward, lifting your back foot, taking the right hand to the ground. I prefer to keep it a little to the right, just so I can be more stable. Try not to put all the weight into your hand. Rotate your shoulder up towards the ceiling, and if you can, the arm can go up too. If you want, you can attempt to grab your foot from behind. You're still trying to not place as much weight in your right hand, which is very difficult for me. You release the hand and the foot, and we're going to try and come up on an inhale, and you end up facing backwards for me then. Make your heart beat a little faster. You're putting some effort into it. We're going to do it again. Make sure you don't over twist your knees. Left foot is forward. Lock in right hand. You're trying to do it slow. So the right arm goes out. So the right leg goes up. And then you rotate your chest in a twist. Lift the leg a little higher, stay with the breath. If you want to reach the foot, you may. Try not to put too much weight into the hand in the front, which is what I'm doing. Release the foot, the hand. Stay with the breath, and you try and inhale. Oh. Obviously, I need to do that much more. Come back to the center. Put the block in front. Hands on the hips for a moment, just because this is also sort of a power pose, just confidence. Lift the chest, lift the heart, like the spine, crown of the head reaches up. Long, deep breaths here. Listen to Ujjayi. So in a way, do you dare to stand big? Do you dare to stand open? Be as big as you can be, because sometimes we tend to make ourselves smaller so that we fit. Fuck fit. You know what? And then the problem is we're the ones who have a problem with it. It's your own ego that says, ooh, I should not do that. You need to be as big as you can be. And that has to do with this area. This has to do with courage. It has to do with, I'm willing to be who I am without being arrogant, just without backing down. And if you're in this energy, you don't even need to fight. It's just a confidence and knowing, a big self-love. So balance has a lot to do with this area. So again, what I told you is if you engage pelvic floor and lift from underneath, it's called Mula Bandha, but we want to lift a little higher. So what I want you to do is imagine you're going to sit in a chair behind you. That's another way to find it. You can let your arms loose. So if I bend my knees thinking there's a chair behind me, I'm going to sit down, I engage that. Then my stomach isn't moving when I'm breathing right now, because I'm thinking I'm not bending my knees, I'm going to sit down. And what I want you to do is hold that. As we come back up from inside, you're going to hold the stomach like that. Keep holding it. This is your core stability right now for a balance. And then you're going to shift your weight onto your left foot and just bring your right foot off the ground. Maybe you leave one toe on the ground, depending on where you are today. Or maybe you stick your finger on a wall. It's also okay. We're going to make it a little trickier. Still holding belly here. Take your right side ankle onto your left knee if you can. Oh, I missed. We're going to see what happens. May fall a lot, and that's okay. Still holding Mula Bandha. You're going to bend the standing leg knee. Keep the stretch on the outside of the hip. If you need to go to a wall or something just to hold on to for a bit, you may, because I would rather you bend the standing leg knee than just fold over. You want to keep the natural curve in your back. I've actually got my finger on the curtain right now because not wanting to go down. And if you want, you can get your finger on the block, but don't put all your weight in your hands. See if you can scoop your chest up and make your back flatter again. Stay with the breath. Bending the standing leg knee is where you get the action in this. You're really going to stretch on the outside of the hip. If you can let go of the block, you can let go of the block and just sort of rest your elbows on your knee and your ankle. A few breaths. Like I said, it's okay to be at a wall. Use the block. The back straight though. More breaths. You're gonna come back on an inhale. This is where we have to use the core again because you got to come back up. The standing leg also protests. Then you come back to standing. Close the eyes. Take a few breaths here, noticing energy. What's happening? Melt into it. We'll do the other side. So if you want to block your wall or whatever you need, find your support that you need. Using Mula Bandha, maybe you have to bend the knees and just to remember where it is so that you engage the core. This helps you in the balance. Shift the weight onto the right foot. Find a focus point, one point that's not moving. Take the left side ankle onto your right knee. Start there. If you're not stable, I'd rather you use a wall or something to hold on to. Then bend your standing leg knee. You're opening the outside of the left hip by doing this. Keep the back flat. You're trying to keep the natural curve in your back, and maybe your hands reach the block. But you're really trying to keep your back flat when you do this. Bend the standing leg knee. Stretch the front. Keep the neck neutral. You don't need to look up. Lengthen the belly, open the heart, bend a little deeper. Find where you can create more space by taking a deeper breath. You're going to come up on an inhale. You have to use core, and the leg has to get strong. Oh, I haven't been there in a while. And then come back to standing again. Notice the energy. So when you're doing a pose that's difficult, you gain the most. Understand that? When you really have to focus and pay attention, you have much more to gain. So your progress and what's going to bring you into balance is doing those poses that you struggle with. But doing it kind and with the right alignment and at the edge where you can be. I want you to turn sideways on your mat so you're in a spread foot forward bend. Your feet are parallel with the outside edges of your mat. And we're going to work on the core a little bit here too. You can take a little bend in the knees, especially if you feel a stretch in the hamstring. Your hands are going to come down onto your knees, and I want your back flat. Your neck is neutral, which means you don't need to look up, and a little bit. But you keep your back flat so that there's an arch in the back, a little bit, a natural arch. So really make your belly long, lift your chest even more. Yeah. Still in a spread foot forward bend. Make your legs active. So you're pushing down with your legs a little bit onto the heels. And you take one hand off of the knee. And either you switch hands or you take both hands off of your knee. And put the energy into your legs. The core is also happening here. And if you can't take both hands off, I want you to come up to where you can. But you're trying to keep the natural curve in your back, and then take your arms out to the sides. Your arms out to the sides. Stay with the breath. Your neck is neutral. Try not to look up. And take your right hand down to the ground like a windmill. Not all the way. It's just spinning your fingertip to the ground. Look up. And then go to the other side. Your legs active. And then do that again. Going from side to side. But keep your back flat. So I don't want you folded over more than you can keep the arch in the back. I want your shoulders right in front of your hips. If you need to bend the knees more to do that, or you need to put a block underneath your hands, you can do that. Now we're going to pause, just leaving the right hand down, either on the ground or a block, wherever you are. And rotate your chest up even more with the left arm if you want, reaching up, and keep the length in your stomach. Arch your chest up and back as you do this. Then put less weight in your right hand. So the legs have to work again, the core has to work again. And then switch sides, twist back down, left hand hits the ground, but don't put too much weight in. And right arm goes up. You can put your hand on a block if you're having trouble, or bend your knees deeper. And then twist back as far as you can, lengthen the spine, and then put less weight in your left hand. I tend to lean forward too much on my left hand, and then my legs don't get strong, my core doesn't get strong. I just put a stick under me and prop me up. But I'm not strong, I'm serious, I'm not. Come back to the center, you think I am, but I'm very good at faking. And then go again from side to side. Don't just prop yourself up. Make yourself strong enough to be able to hold. A few more. The natural curve in the back. And then come back to the center, hands on your knees again, and scoop the chest up. Make the belly really long. So also, if someone has lower back issues and you have pain, this is a way you can actually start to move the disc back into place. Is scoop the chest up and then do a little twist here just by taking the shoulder from one side to the other. But you really keep the length on the front. And then try not to put all the weight in your hands. You're not just putting sticks under your arms and holding you up. So that you have to work a little more from the core in order to do that. Believe me, that's what I've done. I'm very good at putting just things underneath me to hold up. Because I can get into the pose and then just rest there. I'm lazy. Don't tell anybody. Then come back to the center. We're going to come up. And when the legs get stronger, the spine releases. So the strength of the legs has a lot to do also with your core stability. All right, let's step the feet back into the center again. Release the hands down, take a few breaths here. Feel what's going on. Notice. We're going to float the arms up on an inhale, slow motion. Exhale, you fold forward. It's okay to bend the knees to get the fingertips to the ground here. You want your back straight. Inhale, flat back halfway up. You're going to exhale, step back, chaturanga, low plank. And inhale, up to up dog. I want you to really stretch the belly here in up dog. And then roll from right hip to left hip. If there's pain in the back when you do this, you can come on the elbows. Roll from right hip to left hip, really trying to stretch the front here. From side to side. Exhale, we're going to lower down, just take a few minutes or moments to rest. Ground the energy. Now you're going to take your feet a little wider and your toes are on the ground behind you. So put your toes up. We're coming back towards a squat, just so you know. You're going to come up and then onto the knees and walk your hands back. Then back into a squat. And you're going to have your feet as wide as you need to get your heels closer to the ground. And we're going towards something that looks like crow pose. Now you can have a block in front of your head if you want to, just because of, you need a landing pad for this. And it's not, my intention is not just to, I'll see what my intention is. What I want you to do is actually go sideways. I'm going to turn this way so you can is that you're making a little shelf with your arm under your shin. So see if you can come down enough to get your elbows underneath your hip. You kind of lean forward. Lean forward. Put some more weight into your hands. And then I want you to see if you can lift your hips a little higher, lean forward, and lift one foot. And then put it back down. And then lift the other foot. And put it back down. So you make a little shelf with your elbows, and you lift one foot, and then you lift the other foot. You're neck neutral. Lift your hips up a little bit so you can lift one foot. That also makes you engage your core. And what I want you to do is come back for a second. And I don't know if you know what Mula Bandha is, but when you engage the pelvic floor and lift up, this pose becomes easier. So I want you to sort of consciously think, can I engage my pelvic floor and lift from underneath? Because then this takes some of the weight off of your hands. Just see if you can do it, just what we were doing, repeat it. But consciously see if you can engage the pelvic floor while you do it. Lift the hips, engage pelvic floor, and then see if you can lift left foot. Try not to look up and tighten the neck too much. And go from side to side. And this, if you're doing it correctly, will make your heart beat faster. I don't even want you to lift both feet. I just want you to alternatively lift one foot and then the other foot, and then one foot and then the other foot. And if you can lift, you're feeling like, okay, I'm really bored here. You're not just going to lift your foot off the ground. You're going to lift your knee off of your elbow. So then you go into it again, and then you lift the whole leg off of the elbow. That's level 2. Try it. See if you can lift one leg off and then put it back. That's core stability as well. I'm giving you options. Don't have to do everything I tell you to do. But see if you can do it a few times. And it's not easy. If the wrists are hurting, you might need to take a break. All right, one more thing we're gonna do here. Oh, you missed me, I know. If you want and you feel safe and you have the block in front of you, you can do the same thing and just put your head on the ground. My feet are still on the ground. All I'm doing is lifting my hips so my head hits the block. So my head hits the block. So that's also an option to lift from there. Make your head a little landing pad. And if you want, you can lift both feet. And just play with it a little bit. And then when it's enough, you take a break. That's part of what we're trying to do, is do the poses we're not so good at. Because why? Because it makes us stronger. It makes you more courageous. And it runs powerful energy. So when you're doing something that's really difficult, maybe like lifting your feet off, you do it on an exhale. Robert says maybe your head will explode if you don't. So do it on an exhale, hard things. Take a few breaths, come back to sitting, push your block aside. And I want you to go to a seated position, but you're going to roll to the front of your sit bones and hold your knees. Sit back so that you are balancing on your feet. That hurts, put a blanket under. Roll to the front of the sit bones, lift the heart, lengthen the spine. And a few options here. We want to keep the spine long, because if I round my back, I shut off the energy. I know it gets easier to do the pose, but then you don't run the energy. You want to run the energy, because that's what makes you happy. That makes you courageous and wise, strong and radiant. Then I want you to let go of your left leg. Still roll to the front of your sit bones. Let go and then straighten the leg out. Don't put it on the ground, just reach it out. Keep your arch in your back. And then come back again, legs getting stronger as well. But your core needs to work a little to do this. Then let go of right arm, straighten the leg. And then come back. And you keep doing it from side to side. But you really arch your chest up and open the heart when you do it. Keep the neck neutral. And then pause for a moment. Maybe you want to let the feet hit the ground, or even rock a little on the spine. Sometimes I feel like rock back and forth. Also core stability, because you got to use the belly, stomach to rock back and forth and to get up again. You got to rock back and forth, rock up, And then see if you can rock up and not let your feet hit the ground. So you rock up and you stop. You rock up and you stop. And then we're going to rock up, stop, let one leg out, and come back. Rock up, stop, let the other leg out. And do that. Not to let your feet hit the ground. Going. Three, 2, and last one. Then back, and I want you to hold the backs of your knees. You wrap your arms around your legs if you want. Straighten your legs as much as you can. And try not to round your back too much. Lengthen the spine, look at your toes. Just had a pedicure yesterday. I'm pretty happy about it. We're going to bend the knees, hold the backs of the knees. Arch your chest up again, go around your back. Can you reach your arms out? I want you to cross your ankles. Place your hands down beside you. Lift yourself off of the ground. And then come back down. And do it again. You can use arms behind the knees if you want. Roll to the front of the sit bones, lift the heart. Then you're going to cross the ankles, place your hands down, lift yourself off the ground, and if you can, go 1, 2, 3 while you're up. Don't look at me that way. And roll to the front of the sit bones. Hey, I need this as much as you do, so we're doing it together. One more time. Hands behind the knees. Breathe, slow down. Stop the frustration in your head. Do what you can. Cross the ankles, place the hands down, try and lift yourself off the ground. This is also how you jump back in chaturanga. And if you want, hop your feet. And roll back onto your back. Thank you. Stretch your belly. Really open your arms up over your head and feel a stretch. And take a few deep breaths. On the next inhale, you're going to raise your right hand and your left leg, and they're going to touch either your toe, your shin, your knee, and you're going to exhale, put it back down. And then left hand touches right, and then put it back down. Up. Now, if you want more of a challenge here, don't let your heels go all the way to the ground, just float them. Allowed to put your heel down, but if you think, hey, I want to try it once or twice without putting my heels down. And you're doing it in a lengthened position. So this is not a sit-up crunch. You're not strengthening your belly while it's short. You're strengthening it while it's long. Do that. Why? Then you're nice. Going, a few more. Now, if you want to make it more interesting, we're going to bend your knee and your elbow and lift your nose towards your knee. I like this. Touch your elbow to your knee. 3, 2, 1. Stretch yourself out again. Arms up over the head. Take long, deep breaths. Open the mouth on the exhale. Roll onto your left side and use your left arm sort of as a pillow, and you're going to make everything in one line. Your left hand is on the ground. If you need more support with a blanket or a pillow or something under your head, you're allowed to do that, or if there's pain on the hip, adjust. You're trying to make everything one straight line. Keep your head resting down to begin, and then bend your right knee and reach back and grab your right ankle. So you're going to pull your heel towards your buttock here and push your hips a little bit forward. Lift your right knee a little bit away from your left knee. Just keep it above the knees, above each other. Try not to lean too far forward or back, and then lift your left leg from the ground. This is also core stability. Then you're going to release, let the left leg go down, and you're going to take your right hand from your ankle to your, right hand from your knee to your ankle, other way around. And I want you to lift your right leg up in the air if you can. If you can't get the right leg straight up in the air, you can stay with the bent knee in the air. So if you can get it straight up in the air and hold the back of the knee, the ankle, or the big toe. But I want your arms straight too. Be wherever you are. And then you're going to bend your left elbow, the one on the ground, and actually support your head. Bring your head up a little bit. Now, you're trying to stay in one line here. And lift your left leg from the ground. If that's easy for you, release your head and lift your left arm from the ground too. Trying to keep everything in one line. And then exhale, you're going to release the arm and the leg. Arms go up over the head. Just lie flat, still on your side. And you're going to lift the arms from the shoulders and the legs from the hips sideways. Arms and legs sideways. Control it from the core, from the belly. Lift a little higher if you can. And then exhale, you can either roll onto your back or your front, whatever feels okay for you. And then just rest for a few breaths there. Back into your breath. And then you roll on to the other side. And if you need any support, props, anything under the hip or under the head, see if you can just rest your head on your upper arm for a moment from this one and make everything straight. Bend the left knee and reach back and grab your left ankle. Pull your heel towards your buttocks. This is a stretch on the front of the thigh. And then stretch your belly, your heart, lengthen the hips a little bit forward so you really feel that stretch in the front of the thigh for a few breaths. And then you're going to lift the right leg from the hip. And release the right leg back down. You take your hand from your ankle to your knee while straightening the leg above you, above the hip. And you're going to reach up and your arm is straight and it's reaching up as high as it can. If you can reach your toe, reach your toe. If not, just stay with the arm by the knee of the ankle, and then bend your right elbow and support your head and make everything one line again. Everything's in one line. Lift your chest, lengthen your spine. See if you can lift your right leg from the ground. Breathe. If that's working out, can you lift your right elbow from the ground too? And you exhale, release it back down, arms above the head. 2 breaths there. And you're going to inhale the arms from the shoulders, legs from the hips, little sideways Superman. Breathing. Exhale, release the hands down. I'd like you to roll onto your back. And take a few breaths there, just watching energy. I'm going to have you bend your right knee. Bring it into your chest. The arms are just relaxed to the outside. And this is a twist, but we're going to use the leg to lift and lower, which is also going to strengthen your core and your outer hip. So your right knee is going to cross over to the left side. And if you can touch the ground, you may, but then you're going to lift it back up again and then take it back down. Just lift the knee above the hip and then take it back down. And I want you to notice the core muscles have to work when you do this. And you roll over your left hip as you twist, taking right knee to the ground and lifting it up again. And really feel the core muscles under the navel. You can engage them even more. Relax the face. Don't fight. And you're lifting and lowering your right knee, twisting sideways. It's just a rocking, rolling over the hip. A few more times. And then I want you to, don't take the knee all the way to the ground, twisting. So you're just going to twist to the side, where your knee is hovering about 20 centimeters from the ground. You're still in a twist, but it's about halfway. And then you're going to try and straighten your right leg out to the side. And take some deep breath there in the twist. So your leg really has to work. Bend the knee again and straighten it one more time. Straighten the leg out to the side. Twisting leg and then back to the center. Let's do it one more time. Straighten the leg out to the side. Push the heel away. And then back to the center, and you're coming back to lying down, rolling on your back, straighten the legs. Watch the energy, soften the face. The energy in your center of courage, wisdom, motivation. Actually, third chakra center we're working on. Bend the left knee. The twist helps as well to sort of activate that. You're going to drop the right knee rolling over, the left knee rolling over the right hip. And you're going to lift and lower a few times. Just rocking back and forth. Feeling how your core has to engage in order to rock back and forth in the twist. Also adjusting the back. Keep the front long. Make it a stomach exercise, lifting and lowering that leg. And then we're going to pause, letting the knee float about 20 centimeters from the ground, something like that, which you also have to engage to be able to hold it there. You're not resting on top of the other leg, it's just floating in the air. And then you're going to see if you can straighten your left leg out in front. All kinds of things are talking back now. And you can bend the knee again. Sort of staying in that twist 20 centimeters from the ground. Straighten the leg out in front of your hip again. Trying to keep your shoulders on the ground. Bend and straighten that leg a little bit. You're strengthening the outside of the hip. You're strengthening the leg. You're strengthening your core. Push the heel a little bit more away. A few more breaths. One more. And roll back again. I'm sharing my weakest places with you today. Back onto your back. Let's let the feet soles touching the knees open just to get the back adjusted a little bit, the sacrum. If that's not comfortable, you can straighten the legs. Just take a few breaths here. Let's let the hands on the belly for a few breaths, just rising on the inhale, belly blows up like a balloon. Coming down on the exhale. And then allow the knees to come up. You're going to pull your knees into your belly. If there's no neck issues, I actually want you to lift your head from the ground here. Your nose tucks in towards your knees. And you're going to start a breath of fire like this. Unless there's any inflammation in the body, high blood pressure, or first 3 days of your menstruation or pregnant, do long deep breathing. Otherwise, breath of fire here. So the belly is pumping. There's neck issues, you can do it with the neck back further. Come on, this is it. This is the last thing we're doing. Stay. Turn up the volume a little bit. Make it work. Three, two, one. And you're going to release the head back down slowly. And the legs into Shavasana, into a relaxing position.